I received a liver transplant in June of 2015. Organ donation saves lives. It saved my life, and that's the reason I can have this conversation with you, because somebody took the time to register to save a life, not necessarily my life, but somebody's life. I represented Canada at the 2017 World Transplant Games, where I competed in 5 swimming events. Well, really, I think it's just around taking the stigma away. It's a touchy subject. We're talking about mortality here. But once we get past that, we can have real conversations. And I think that's just what HR professionals need to do is create a culture where it's accepted, where there's conversation around it. Because once conversation becomes available, people become more comfortable, and then real change can happen.
My son Jonathan, who was 22 at the time, was in a tragic car crash. He was the passenger, and sure enough, they asked, did Jonathan sign his donor card? And we said yes, to go forward with organ donation. He gave each kidney to a different man, his liver to another man, his lungs to another man, and his heart valves went to Sick Kids Hospital. Wow. So he saved at least 4 lives, and that gave us some solace. He got to die a hero. And we just realized what an amazing gift Jonathan gave to save these lives. And it gave us a gift now to give us a purpose in our life, to help more people hopefully get a life-changing transplant.
My daughter, at the age of 2, went into acute liver failure. So one morning she woke up with jaundiced or yellow eyes. And 16 days later, we were put on the organ and tissue donation list. My youngest sister was deemed to be a perfect match after 18 hours of screening, MRIs, psychological assessments, blood work. And when you're on that waiting list, waiting for an organ, you're on that waiting list with potentially 1,500 other Ontario participants or people waiting for their second chance. Knowing every 3 days someone on that list will die. It's a scary thing, and not everybody, you can't have live donors for certain organs, and not all live donors are matches for the ones that can be. So it's a very scary thing that can change, and I think that by educating, it causes people to be empowered to make choices of not necessarily one option is becoming a live donor, but even looking at being a deceased donor. I think that, we can continue to be a hero even after we pass, and allowing others to live on. And that's an amazing gift to give, and that's a gift that continues to have a ripple effect. So I think that, bringing about awareness and education can certainly empower people to think about their choices and to know what they want, and then also to not leave that choice behind for family to make that decision for them, because it's a very challenging thing to do when you're dealing with loss.
I was told that I needed a transplant, and I really didn't know what that meant until I realized that it's not something that's just done routinely at any hospital. It's a very specialized procedure, and more importantly, it takes finding somebody that's prepared to donate an organ to you to replace what you is really sick. May 19th, 2015, I received a new liver from an anonymous donor, and here today, standing healthy and living a full life. Well, the most difficult part of going through trying to find an organ was the wait. It was very, very difficult, and every day you couldn't, you're trying to balance out your life of whether you're going to continue in life or whether you just give up. And I was determined that I would not give up. But I felt that at the end of the whole thing that I needed to give something back. I was so thankful to my donor. I was so thankful to the nurses and doctors who performed the transplant. I said, you know what, if there's anything I can do is not put somebody through the wait. And the waits are very long. They could be upwards of 1, 2, 3, 4 years for an organ. And the Organ Project is meant to address that. We are trying to get people to register as donors. And the more we can get, the more likely that somebody will not die waiting in line for an organ, which is a very, very real reality. People die daily. Every 36 hours, somebody dies in Ontario because there's no organ available for them. I want to stop that, and that's the vision. If we can register enough people to donate their organs upon death, then we have solved the problem.
HR can do so much for us. We're a really small organization, and we're living in a digital world, and people are working remotely and workforces are distributed, and employers can play a great part in helping us send our message, our digital message, to their workforces. And not only that, but giving them some inspiration to register, making it fun, making it a challenge. We've had some employers who are interested in having different locations challenge each other. Province to province rivalries are always great. Interdivisional provinces are always great. And institutions, we've had some colleges, universities looking at different campuses, being able to see which campus can generate the most registrations. And we're really pleased to do whatever we can to help set up those campaigns. And HR professionals can revisit their employment policies and make sure that they have a policy in place that facilitates living donation. Certainly there's unpaid leaves provided by the government. There's a lot of employers are telling us that they look at some of their disability. It's not really a disability, but having a really proactive, forward-thinking policy on living donation, it reflects that the organization is forward-thinking, it supports organ donation, and is doing everything it can to help us improve the access to organs for people in Canada who so desperately need them.